Welcome, 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 welcome to Sipping with Maria and Tika G, where we do not talk about politics, religion, or celebrities. Today's topic is how can someone recognize the presence of abuse in a relationship? Now, before we get into that topic, I want to go over some information that I researched for you. The information that I have is before we go in there, let's talk about what is abuse. Abuse means treating another person with violence, cruelty, harm, or force. Abuse can take many forms, ranging from disrespect to causing someone physical or mental pain. It can occur in someone's home or a public place. Often, the people who commit abuse are taking advantage of a special relationship. Please note that it's never okay. It's never okay, and it's not the fault of the person who's being abused. Also, intimate partners is the most common form of violence against women, and that also includes physical, sexual, and emotional abuse and controlling behaviors by intimate partners. Again, it's never okay, and it's not the fault of the person who is being abused. If you need help, the National Domestic Violence Hotline can be reached at www.thehotline.org. Everyone deserves a relationship free from domestic violence. Or you can call them confidentially 24/7, 365 at 800-799 SAFE or 800-799-7233. A lot of people also ask questions like, why don't women leave? And research has shown at many times women do leave, but to leave safely, it's a long process, causing many people to think the woman is prolonging the abuse, and it's not like that. They have to think about the financial realities. Some people have faith beliefs where they can't leave that type of relationship. The desire to interact with the family, hope for the relationship will improve, and fear that leaving will increase the abuse. All of these things you have to, people take in consideration when leaving. Now, don't get me wrong, men do get abused too, but it's not reported as much as it is with women. Also, you have to take in consideration if you have children with abuse, will that person abuse you in front of that child, or that also stops the woman from leaving because of the children. So again, there's many things that keep the woman there. Also, you know a lot of people don't want their children growing up without a father. So again, keep that in consideration. And again, it's never okay. It's not the fault of the person who is being abused. Tika, I know you have answers to this questions on how can someone recognize the presence of abuse in a relationship. How you doing today? Tika,
I'm doing
how
good.
you
How are
doing?
you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Now, I know you had some answers to this question on how can someone recognize the presence of abuse in a relationship. What answers did you have for that?
Some women, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm gonna be sensitive to everyone's answer and response. Everybody has different opinions, different ways of thinking about um, what they've had going on, or what they have going on, or what they would do in certain situations. But I did talk to a few people that they told me that they have been in um, a relationship that resulted in them leaving due to domestic violence. So one of the answers I got was know in the beginning that well, when you start seeing the signs, such as the person change, or they might become controlling. And they said you start noticing those signs, but they said that some people may choose to ignore it, because of what you just said, Maria. They might have kids at the time, or and believe that they shouldn't have a home that's broken
Right.
up or anything like that. But they said that, they believe that it's being naive to think that, it's not that's not leading into, a issue in the relationship, because they said, um the emotional aspect of, domestic violence, is very serious. And, this person was telling me that, being that she was emotionally abused in a relationship to the point where she almost forgot who she was, and her purpose in this life. That's how controlling the person became. She said that she had always told herself that she was too naive to think that, that she wasn't in she knew she was in it, but just didn't know ways of getting out of the relationship, or believed that because it was emotional, because nothing was going on, that it was not really serious, that the abuse was not really serious. And that's something else that we could touch on, because some people are saying, oh, it's not really serious if you can't see any marks on me or anything like that, just emotional. But it is. It's all of it is serious. Um, and, someone else had told me that, they did not know, honestly, did not know the signs of a, toxic relationship. Um, and for them, it led to a, serious, um, issue with domestic violence. And they said that they did not even know that what was going on was considered, reportable or anything of that nature. So, um, she said that she would like, to touch on, us to touch on, things are reportable. You can report things. You can, keep a journal, write things down, if and just so you can remember everything that's going on. She just believed that it did not matter. It just she said she just like, oh, okay, well, might as well not talk to anybody. And she said suffering and that kind of silence really, really damaged her as a person, because now, she said she doesn't even trust herself. And, the people that she is around, when she is around someone, she cannot move on past any kind of friendship. She cannot move on to another relationship because of that, relationship that she was in, because she felt so alone, that she said she does not want to feel trapped ever again. Um, so how do you feel about that, being, when someone says they feel like trapped to the point where they're like, I don't even want, forget any conversation. I'm just going to be alone, and, live my life through that way because of that lack of trust.
I can relate to a certain extent. I have been in both a abuse, verbal abusive relationship, and I have been in a physical um, abusive relationship. And you do feel trapped. You do feel like you can't move on because A, B, C, D. Well, the verbal relationship, it was hard for me to move on because he and I had just had a fresh baby together, and I really didn't have anywhere to go. So I put up with the abuse until I was able to stack my coins up so that I can move on. But it is hard. It's not as easy as people think it is. It's hard for you to walk away, especially when you in love, quote quote, or think you're in love. It's not that easy. Um, the abusive relationship that I was in, it was hard to leave that relationship, more so because he was my next door neighbor. And he was very jealous. So any guy other than him that he would see at my house, he would cause confrontation, which would bring drama to my home. So I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and until I got up the strength to just move onto another whole city just to get away from him. So I moved from Newport News to Virginia Beach just to get away. So it's hard. It's not as easy as people think it is, and it can be different reasons on why you take your time leaving. So
That is definitely very true. And you know how they, when you do research the topic or even think about relationships that you have been in yourself, um, that have resulted in domestic violence, that it takes the statistics show that it takes several times for someone to finally leave out, because you might be the outside looking in, like, what in the world, why she keep going back and forth to different things. So it actually takes several times for a person to actually finally leave permanently out of the relationship.
right, and it's and then sometimes you want to leave, but you're in fear that if I leave this person, they're going to kill me. You ever heard, I watched TV and they said, over my dead body, I'll kill you before I let you leave. I believe when people say that. I watch the ID channel and people be really doing that. Either you're going to be with me or you ain't going to be with nobody and I'm going to kill you. So what do you do when you get in a situation like that? That is another form of abuse,
You pray.
you know?
You pray
So,
about it.
yeah, there's some foolies out here. They just it's sometimes it is hard to recognize, and you can be very naive um when it comes down to abuse. Dana, what do you think? What is your take on this?
Um, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I wasn't sure. it's hard to say because everybody's different. Everybody handled that type of situation differently. Emotionally, it's a hard thing to go through. One of my ex-boyfriends tried to kill me. And I didn't think he would do it. He was sitting on top of a store with a scope aimed at my bedroom, and if it wasn't for my son, he would have shot. But because my son walked in before me, he didn't want to hurt my child.
Wow.
That's what he did. And then on top of that, my uncle went to his mama house and told him, if you don't want to bury your son, you better leave my niece alone.
Wow.
In some instance, it's good to have supportive family that you are able to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, you have to be the one to say, I had enough. Because no one's going to pull you out that situation but you.
That part. That part. People it's how can I used to tell people, sometimes people have to hit rock bottom, meaning that you have to go down, have to be so low where you don't have a choice but to go up. Because you done been so low, you cannot go no lower than you already are. So the only thing you can do is move up from there. And that's
Exactly.
sort of how abuse is. You have to get sick, you got to get tired and sick and tired of being abused, whether it's verbal abuse, physical abuse, any type of abuse. You yourself as the victim have to be tired. We can talk, someone can talk blue to you in the face, and but at the end of the day it's your decision. I'm not being insensitive to anyone or trying to be, because like I said, I have been in both of abusive relationship and a physical abusive relationship, and I had to make that decision to leave that relationship. They didn't make that decision for me. My friends didn't make that decision for me. I made that decision. One, the first relationship that was verbal, I didn't want my child to be in that type of environment. The second one, that man with my hind parts in front of my son, that was the end of that. I don't want my kids to ever think it's okay to put their hands on a woman. Period.
Yeah. And most
So,
of all, you got to stop being the victim.
you know,
Stop being the
oh,
victim, you know?
oh, I'm no longer the victim. I do the ass whooping
Exactly.
now. I'm giving
Yeah.
out the ass whoopings because somebody put their hands on me. I'm going to jail, and I'm not, and I'm staying in there. That's gonna be my permanent home. Because when I go, I'm going for killing you. You're not gonna put your hands on me ever again. Tika, how do you feel about the statements that was made by the listeners?
I feel that, people were sharing their experiences with me, just to discuss, how they were feeling at the time, and that they still needed to get that release, or they still wanted to spread awareness about how hard it is to leave. And I truly, understand that. And I also believe that some people just don't, um, maybe just don't know of the correct ways of going about doing things because of what someone has told them. They'll say, "Oh no, girl, don't worry about calling the police, or don't worry about doing this and that, because nothing to happen." But you can't just tell someone don't call or don't do anything. It should be just do things that they can do, because some women told me that they don't feel safe even if they do call the police. So that's another situation, depending on what state you live in and all that kind of stuff. What what are the laws surrounding you trying to leave, or wanting to leave and wanting ways to go about doing things? Because some women, you have to think about it. Some women haven't even worked during a relationship.
Right.
They don't even have, it's like there's no financial means. And although that there are, in every state, there are different programs and different ways for people to, um, for you to receive help. But some people are scared to call those programs because they seem just so far fetched, so far away, and people are already not trusting in the system, or what's going on. So I think it still needs to be more awareness to what, of course, depending on where you live, what can you do? How can the police help? Because I know people are like, what's the point? I put in a protective order. The person still showed up, outside my door, and they're still threatening me. And I called the police, and they're just like, "Oh, okay, thank and there has to be some kind of way for someone to feel safe. Um,
It's funny you should bring that up because it's crazy, because if you defend yourself, you go to jail,
mhm.
but you're in a position where this person can kill you. So what do? You know, I'm defending myself. I done came to the police. They told me it was only a threat, that there's nothing they can do until he act on it. So you mean to tell me this man tell me he gonna kill me, and I can't act on it until I'm dead or until he physically hurts me? So yeah, you must know the rules of where you live at, on how to report and how to defend yourself. Ladies, we must learn how to defend ourselves, take some type of self-defense classes, but know that everything around you is a weapon. Your nails, your fingers, your feet, your everything is a weapon. A screwdriver, anything, shoot. To learn how to defend yourself. It's hard out here, and Tika, you right. We must know the rules on what to do, but we definitely need to learn how to defend ourselves, and what are the limits to defending yourself. If I defend myself, am I gonna go to jail? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, and if I make that phone call, am I going to be put right back into the situation that I'm in? If I make the phone call, am I going to be able to leave this person right then? Because if not, I just set myself up for something really bad to happen. So if I make that call, who and what kind of program or resources is going to be able to help me right then, to the point where I don't have to see this person again until we either in court or whatever, and get this person away from me and off the street, and not be able to make bail or anything.
and that's another thing. That's another scary thing. Okay, this man done beat me up. He done blacked my eye, bloodied my nose. Okay, he's in jail. Then he makes bail, and you let him out for him to finish the job.
Right.
So it's scary. It it's very very scary, very scary.
I understand what y'all
Um,
saying, ladies,
that,
but you have to look at it like this. How many domestic violent calls the police department get a day? And how many women actually stick to what they're trying to get out of, instead of letting this person come back in their life? And you even have those women that break down and actually go bail them out of jail.
this is
it's
true.
it's, it's all too many. So you have to look at both sides. You know, there. Depending on that situation, you have to make sure everything is documented, because you can't lie when you have what you have documented. You
Mm-hmm.
have any bruises? Take your tail to the hospital. That's documentation. And that's what basically these courts are basing a lot of these cases off of. If you're going to stand there and press charges, you're going to call us, and then you're going to turn right back around and let this man right back in. What is the point of us coming out getting this person in the first place if you're going to continue that cycle and let this happen?
Correct.
So again, as women, we have to say enough's enough, and actually say we're not going to allow this continue, because this is becoming a statistic. And African American minorities, period, are at its highest when it comes to domestic violence. And then on top of that, heaven forbid, children are involved. And majority of the time, children are involved.
Hmm.
This is the cycle that you're teaching your children. I don't care whether you have a boy or a girl. That girl most likely will find somebody doing the same thing to her, or that boy will be most likely turn into that man doing the same thing to another woman.
And then
So you have to
you,
break that cycle.
yes, you have that. If you don't beat on me or hit me, that you don't love me, and that's crazy. That's you don't love ain't supposed to hurt. So, and I know a young lady like that. If he don't beat me, he don't love me, and that's insane. To walk around here with black eyes, and you so afraid, when to move on and get you a good man, because he won't put his hands on you. You don't think he love you. And once again, what do we make ourselves victims, and we have to stop being victims, allowing ourselves to be victims.
And then you have some females that actually like to be abused, so they can
Hmm.
cry the victim. I'm gonna tell you like this. Let's just get to the meat and potatoes of this whole subject. I grew up in a household with my stepfather beating the dog shit out of my mom. I would even try to help my mother, and in the process, I would get my ass whooped. So I stopped helping. I just know to have the bandages ready, hot towels, ice. Here you go. But I had to realize I had a son. And when that relationship took place, I I got out of it, by the grace of God and my uncle with his help. So I was one of those fortunate ones. And I never looked back again because I saw what I went through as a child watching my mother go through it. I was not about to let that same thing happen to me and my son, and for my son to grow up and think it's okay to put his hands on women. I refuse. I got up out of them, you know. But with this person, he actually realized, and he was like, he never thought that he would even go to that extent because he's the only boy out of 6 children, and he's the only boy. And for my uncle and his mother to have that conversation, that was such embarrassment to his mother, to where his mother would, try to apologize. And just like I told her, it's nothing you can apologize for because you've done your job by raising your son. You know you did not instill this type of behavior. And he wasn't around none of that type of behavior with, his family. So where he picked that up from, it was just I, I guess you could say someone that just want to try his luck. You
Mm.
know, we have to realize this is not a trend. This is not something that can be swept up under the rug and just be laughed at and played. People are losing their lives every day. These are mothers, sisters, aunties,
This is true.
and not to mention brothers, uncles, fathers. Because it's not only just that woman, it's that man life being affected. These are 2 lives, and then you have a child. This child is going without either parent.
Now, please keep in mind, listeners, that we're not saying, again, we're not saying men don't get abused. It's just not reported as much as it is with women being abused. That's why we're more focused towards the women than the men. I know a young man that has been abused by a woman before, but I'll let him tell that story when he's ready. Yes, he was abused by his girlfriend. So, I'll let him tell that story when he's ready. So keep in mind, we're not saying women are the only ones that's being abused. We're just saying that that's mostly what's being reported. Women are the ones being abused by the men, and that they're in the domestic uh relationships. And let's say hi to our listener, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. She's in the chat room. Oh, she's calling in. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Nicole.
You.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome back. Welcome
Thank
back.
you. Thank you.
So,
So
the
tonight,
question for the evening is, how can someone recognize the presence of abuse in a relationship? Do you have any answers for that question?
Hmm. How does someone recognize? I know with some of my friends, in the past, I've noticed how their uh, how their actions change, and I guess the way that they move, like it's like, oh, I can't go out with you as much as I used to, or can't call you at a certain time, or it's just different things that you know they've done something different in just how they're acting. They're more on edge. Um, Sometimes like, oh, well, I can't. I got to be home by a certain time. I can't do this. I can't. He's gonna be mad, or um, I don't know. I guess just how they respond and how they're acting, and how they appear to seem a little afraid, um,
Mm-hmm.
of making that person upset, or offended, and how they seem to overly, I guess, cater towards um, that person.
I have had friends that if you move your hand, she jumps,
Mhm.
and that's how I knew. So, girl, you okay?
Mhm.
And she's like, I'm fine. I seen it herself, and this is before I ever experienced any type of abuse, verbal or
Mhm.
physical. Because I was one of those chicks that, oh, ain't nobody gonna put their hands on me. Mama put his hands on me. I'm gonna do A, B, C, D, and da da da. Girl, you stupid, and da 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 da.
Mhm.
Until I got in that situation, and it's
Mhm.
not that easy to walk away.
Right.
I've been in the, like I said earlier, I've been in a verbal abusive relationship. I've been in a physical relationship, and both times it was hard to leave. You
Mhm.
know, it's not as easy as people think it is.
Mhm.
I did things like your friend. I
Mhm.
gotta hurry up and get home. I'm looking at my
Mhm.
phone all the
Mhm.
time. I'm going to work. I'm going straight home, girl. I got off
Mhm.
work early one day. This Negro calling me talking about why you in at work. I'm like, how the hell he know I'm not at work?
Mhm.
I had just left because they let us off early.
Right.
So I had stalker status, crazy boyfriend wanna whip your hind parts type situation. I
Mhm.
would, but we do. Some women do love with their whole heart,
Right.
but it's scary, and no one, male or female, deserves to be in that type of relationship. It's
Right.
it's being it. You need counseling after that
Right.
stuff,
Mhm.
and the saying black people don't do counseling, but we we,
Yeah.
we need
We
Tika
get
counseling.
wouldn't
like
be in the
everybody
industry
else.
she in if we didn't.
Exactly. But we do. We actually do need counseling.
Mhm.
A lot of people, they say we don't, but we need counseling. We have to
Mhm.
get past this, and like Dana said earlier, you have to break the cycle. You don't want your daughter thinking it's okay to be beat on, and you
Right.
don't want your son to think it's okay to beat up on a woman. Now, I may sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I am going to say this. If a woman put herself in a position, and what I mean by that, if
Mhm.
she's around here whooping on you like you a Negro in the street, then by all means, you should do the same thing that she would do to you, and
Right.
that's called the police. Press charges.
Yes.
Press
Yes.
charges on her hind parts. Anything,
Right.
just please don't put your hands on her. I mean,
Mhm.
but if some people, I know women who beat on men.
Mhm.
They will
Mhm.
put their hands on them and physically beat on these
Yep.
men, and the men are so embarrassed. They're not about to report that they being beat up by their wife or their girlfriend,
No. Mm-mm.
you know. So
Nope.
you can't. So it's hard. It's it's crazy.
Right.
Welcome, Abad.
Mhm.
Did I say your name right? Welcome, Abad. You know, I I myself would not put myself in that situation.
Right.
I don't ever again would want to
Mhm.
be in that situation
Mhm.
physically, mentally,
Mhm.
any of that, because I needed
Mhm.
therapy after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's traumatic, you
It's
know.
it's very dramatic, especially because I was one of those people, Dana. I didn't bond him out, but I did um get him locked up, and when he got out of jail, my dumb tail went back to him. Then
Mhm.
we started fighting again, and he
Mhm.
got locked up for the second time. My dumb tail went back to him. But the
Mhm.
third time, it was the other way around. I did the ass whooping, and that was the last time we were together. And I moved on from there because it's not okay, male or
Mhm.
female. Nobody should be in that situation where
Right.
they have to always defend themselves from somebody that
Mhm.
claim that they love them and care
Mhm.
about them. Love is not supposed to hurt. You're not supposed to be beating on somebody, hitting on them because they won't do something that you want them to do, or you assuming they out here doing something, and come to find out it's you doing it because it's guilt. It's not okay. And
Mhm.
this is a strong subject for me. As y'all see,
Mhm.
being abused by any means is not okay, for
Mhm.
nobody.
Mhm.
Nobody. And
Right.
counseling is definitely needed, not only for that victim, the children become victims too, and people have to
Mhm.
understand that.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
not just the woman, it's the children also.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they need counseling too.
so
Yes, that is true. And a lot of times, children, especially small children, feel like they can't do anything to protect that person. They just feel like, oh, oh, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't save them. I was too little, or and it stays with them
Mhm.
for like after they continuously see things and hear things,
right.
Mhm.
That is
and
right.
yeah, and they become and then I know this one person, she told me that her child kept saying, "Why didn't you leave?" It was kind of like they were saying, "What was wrong with you that you couldn't just get up and leave?" And she said they didn't understand the fact that it was steps to take her to leave because she didn't have anywhere to go. Like I said earlier, she didn't have that financial means, and that sometimes that happens in a relationship too, where someone's tries to control you, and they have control over all the finances and things like that, and you may just be sitting there without any kind of income, and we all know that in society, you need money to make things go. So it she said her child kept saying it was your fault. How come you just didn't get up and leave? And she
Mhm.
said she honestly didn't have anywhere to go. Her the family, she didn't have any reliable family, and her she was too ashamed to tell anybody that she knew, like an acquaintance or anything. But she said she really didn't have those either because her abuser told her that she was not allowed to have anybody to talk to.
Mhm.
That's the first offense with them. You know, they alienate you from
Right.
friends and,
Hmm.
you know, just so they can establish that control and start
Right.
breaking you down mentally. Because
Mhm.
everybody done, you know, you done alienated everybody to
Right.
where you don't have them people around, or they make you feel like you don't have them people around, and actually you do. It's just a point of you stepping up and opening up your mouth and saying what is going on with you and asking for help.
Exactly that part.
Mhm.
That part. And sometimes it's hard to ask for help because we you get embarrassed, you know. I was embarrassed because I was the Billy badass that was not going to go through that, and nobody was going to put their hands on me because I was going to do ABCD. And when I got in that situation, that's not what happened.
Mhm.
Well, let me ask you, when you thought about that and you said all of that, at the end of the day, what was your decision?
I had to do what I had to do and get the hell out of that situation.
Exactly. You
It
made
took
that choice.
it took time, but I eventually I had to because, like I said, the last ass whooping was done in front of my child, in
Mhm.
front of my 8-year-old son. And my son couldn't help me. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't defend me from no grown man. And that was the last straw. Never put my child in that situation again. And I meant that from the bottom of my soul. Never. So that right there is what made me get out of that situation because of my son. And the best thing was for me to do was to leave the city of Newport News and go to the city of Virginia Beach
Mhm.
because it was either going to be him putting his hands on me or me killing him the next time. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because that's where it was going to go. I was going to kill him. And I told his mother and his sister that. He ever put his hands on me again, you wearing a black dress. And I meant that from the bottom of my soul. So it was either me or him. So I left. So
You know, I used to ask my mom, like, why does she stay? It's not like she didn't, you know, had the means and had the family. It was more of why did she stay? That's something I never understood. And the only thing she could tell me is that she loved him. How can you love someone that doesn't even much get grasp the concept of love? Because hitting someone, putting their hands on someone, demeaning someone, being disrespectful, that's not love.
Not at
That's
all.
the type of love that, I grew up knowing. That's not the type of love that we were taught, you were taught.
Right.
So
And then some people, a lot of people use their children as an excuse to stay in an abusive relationship. I have met someone like that. I can't leave. We have kids together. I'm gonna wait till the kids turn 18 and the child is only 2, 3, and 4 years old. You know how long that is? You may not even be
especially being
alive then.
miserable.
Right.
Yeah, you rather be miserable than to move on and be alone. It's okay to be by yourself.
Mhm.
It is okay. I was alone for 14 years.
And
It's
a lot of
okay.
women don't know how to be alone. They
I
don't know
didn't.
how to be alone. They need to
I didn't
learn
at first.
it's okay
Mm-mm.
to be alone. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's alright. It's definitely okay to be by yourself.
Because women are bred to grow up, start a family, get married, start a family, graduate, do all the housemaking things. But
Right.
times have changed to where
Mhm.
women have more power than they really believe them to have. We have a lot of power than these men can
Right.
even fathom.
Yeah.
They can't push babies. We can. That should tell you the depth of our strength right there.
Can't even handle a splinter in their finger. You would think the world done ended if they get a paper cut.
Hmm. So this is what we have to get back learning about ourselves, that strength within us as a woman, to where no man can be able to touch our minds.
Mhm.
No man.
Amen.
It's a process. Yes, it is a process.
It's definitely a process. I want to thank everybody for coming on the show. Nicole, thank you for coming to the show again.
Thank you.
Abad, thank you for coming to the show as well. Again, as you all know, season 4 starts a new beginning for us for Sipping with Marie and Tika G. We are live. Listeners will be able to chat and call in. And also, we have a permanent co host, which is Dana. She's our permanent co host. So we're excited about that. Also, I want to let you know that Sipping with Marie and Tika G are looking for guests to be on the show. If you are interested, please email the following information: your name, a short bio about yourself, your Facebook, Twitter, and or Instagram, and the topic you would like to talk about, and a picture. When you send a picture, please keep it clean and understand that you give Sipping with Marie and Tika G permission to use your picture for promotional use only. Please send your information to the email address sipping with Maria, the number 3, Tika, Tika, at gmail.com. Again, that's sipping with Maria, Maria, the number 3, Tika, at gmail.com. If your topic is chosen, you will be asked to be on the show. If your topic is not chosen, does not mean it won't be picked in the future. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Maria underscore Tika G, Facebook, Sipping with Maria and Tika G, Instagram at Sipping with Maria and Tika G, YouTube, Sipping with Maria and Tika G, and our website, Sipping with Maria, the number 3, Tika, TIKAGEE.com. Again, that website is Sipping with Maria, Maria, the number 3, TikaG.com. And again, abuse is never okay. If you need any assistance, you can always go to www.thehotline.org, or you can call 24/7, 365 at 800-799-SAFE. Again, that's 800-799-7233. Make sure to listen to Sipping with Maria and Tika G every Thursday at 8 p.m. Thank you, ladies and
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye
Have a good
bye.
day. Bye bye.
You too.